Hi, I just recorded a full episode for you all on the source perspective of self-image and why it is important, why it's the key to everything. Anyway, I dive into it. It's a very long episode. I go down a lot of different rabbit holes, a lot of different veins. So before you listen, make sure you're in a place to fully take in the information. So if you're on a walk or driving or sitting down, just make sure you're in a place where you have the ability to fully take in all the information. And I definitely recommend listening to this about 3 to 4 times. There's so much information in here and it gets a little, not so much heady, but just a little complicated sounding at some points. Trying to translate source sometimes. So enjoy it. I'm so excited for you and let's get into it. One more thing before we get into it real quick is that this is, even though this is sounds like so much is going on in this episode, this is just the beginning and the foundation of the foundation of the foundation of the foundation of self-image healing and how it can just drastically change everything in your life and even the way that you physically look. It is wild, but we get into it all in here. So you guys have been up my butt for the glow formula to come back out. It's really advanced. So before we get into that, I decided we are going to be doing a glow foundation workshop live with me. You get to be live in a room with me over Zoom. Okay, enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Unfuck Yourself podcast. I'm so excited for today because we are diving into self-image, the source science of self-image on a deeper level than you've probably ever heard me explain before. And today's episode is one of the foundational things that I start any student or any client with over here in this neck of the woods. This is one of the things that you cannot not have in the world. It's one of the most important things for relationships, for jobs, for success, for money, essentially anything you could want and anything that takes recognition from others. So we will be talking all things about self-image, which is essentially how we see ourselves and how we perceive other people see us. So prepare for a massive life change today because this is the pillar for everything. Everything that you desire. And if you have any obstacles in life, anywhere, in any area of life, self-image and shifting it in your creator field is going to be the key to solving all, yes, all of your obstacles. And is going to be the key to getting essentially what your soul is pulling you toward creating in this life. Now, when self-image gets brought up, the ego comes up and wants to fight to the death. If you start to get emotionally irritated or thinking, this isn't me, or I don't need this, then it absolutely is you and you absolutely do need it. Like I said before, the ego loves to hold us back from soul growth. It doesn't want to get fired, right? And this is something that 9+ years into this work, I am still finding certain areas of life of how I am beating myself up, whether it's for a minute or for a few hours or for a few weeks or whatever it is. If we have any obstacles ever, key telling sign that there is a self-image hole and gap in your creator field. Now, some telling signs that are not so obvious that your self-image needs work, because we all know the obvious ones, right? Like the obvious signs are low confidence, comparison, judging yourself, wondering if you're good enough, those kinds of things, that whole situation. But I want to go into some not so obvious signs that self-image could actually use some work. One of them being obstacles in one or more areas of your life. Yes, obstacles. Any obstacle ever, always, 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 for myself and anyone I've ever worked with, ever, I have never seen a time where it has not traced back to a self-image hole in your creator field. Self-image holes in your creator field are the number one reason for any obstacle you have ever. So what's great about this is you can cut wondering, what the obstacle is. Like, it's something to do with self-image somewhere, somehow in your life, which we're going to get into way deeper in this podcast. Number 2, telling not so obvious sign that self-image could use some strengthening, I guess, for lack of a better word. Always investing in courses, classes, programs, reading every book, learning all this stuff, and then not embodying or taking action with anything you've learned. So it's kind of like feeling like, or you keep needing to go to college, you keep needing to go get all these degrees or learn all these things, but then still feeling like you don't know enough to do the thing you want to do. Still feeling like nothing's ever enough, you're not good enough yet to do what you want to do. Number 3, getting triggered. If you're getting told your confidence could be higher in a certain area of life. If you're getting triggered when you're getting told that your confidence could be higher in a certain area of life, that means that is your ego trying to fight for you to not have the soul growth of realizing, oh my God, wait, I'm getting triggered when someone tells me I need to be more confident. If we're getting triggered, it's a telling sign that that is actually the truth. Now, I have this with clients all the time. They come to me and sessions with me maybe aren't the most, they can be triggering because we are going in and finding the things that your ego has been trying to keep you safe with for a very long time. So people will come in and I'll tell them, like, hey, your self-image is really high in these areas, but self-image here, you've just never thought about it. And it's not your fault. We haven't had the right tools, trainings, techniques, school systems to have our self-image be high and be set up for success. So it's not our fault. But if we do want to shift and we do want to get the things we want, it is our responsibility to shift it and change it. So I have had many clients come in and they want to fight me. I'm like, no, my self-image is high. And they're right. Like, it could be high in certain areas. And then there's other areas where it is not as high as it could be, and things they haven't even thought of to emotionally root to, where I am finding the self-image holes. I always tell people in a session, when I'm finding the low percentages of things, like, because in sessions, I always scientifically, intuitively measure things 0 to 100%, 100% being the highest. So if I'm like, oh, the percentage of 0 to 100 that you feel like you are built to be making $20 million a year is like a 7%, which means you'll never be making $20 million a year unless you shift that belief system, right? So I always tell them, like, me finding the low percentages is good because you'd be wasting your time and money and energy if I was finding things you're already good at. Because me finding the things that you're not noticing or you haven't thought about or that you haven't been trained on how to do is what's going to bring in the massive most amount of life change. So even if a client comes in and maybe they are really rooted to how great their work is, but maybe they're not rooted to their work is worth $10 million a year, right? And so me bringing that up might trigger someone because they're like, no, like, I am rooted to my work. And maybe you are on a certain level, but then there's always new levels to hit. So getting triggered about that is a telling sign that your self-image isn't where it desires to be. Number 4, having great things go on in one area of life, but another area of life is riddled with obstacles. Once again, obstacles are a telling sign of self-image holes and gaps in your creator field. And I'll get to what the holes and gaps mean in your creator field in just a little bit. Number 5, feeling like you need to tell people how great you are and all that you're doing instead of just being that way and letting others see it for themselves. People maybe get this twisted a little bit. When you actually have a high self-image, you become very outwardly humble and you're just kind of inwardly praising yourself. So like, if anyone heard the thoughts that were going on in my head, they'd be like, oh my God, you are like probably a little too confident. But outwardly, I am praising myself so much on the inside that outwardly, I don't feel like I need that praise from anyone else because I'm giving it to myself. So I don't feel like I have to go outwardly share all of these things, X, Y, and Z of what I'm doing or what I know or what I figured out or whatever, because of how I'm just praising myself internally for it, which, by the way, I've had to train myself on. I was not like, doing this my whole entire life. So anytime you feel like you have to say out loud something to prove yourself, it's a telling sign that you're a little bit disconnected of how rooted you are to that thing that you're trying to prove, how unrooted you are from it. Number 6, feeling the need to low-key pinpoint your perceived flaws in others and openly discuss them so you feel better. So for example, feeling like the person that you are taking a course from, maybe you subconsciously get a little bit threatened that, and you start to feel like, oh my God, my content isn't this good, blah, 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 which isn't the truth. It's just how you're perceiving something. Well, if you start to then feel the need to like just say little tiny things, not even big digs, but just little tiny things, and try to point out the little flaws in what they're doing, another telling sign that anything that you're judging or saying about them is how you actually feel about yourself, and it pinpoints for you little self-image holes in the creator field that are ready to be filled up. Number 7, denying that you have a self-image problem. Hint, if you have any obstacles ever somewhere in your life, you have a self-image problem. And it's not a problem, but there's a self-image gap or hole in your creator field. So I just want to give you a few things so your ego couldn't fight you out of listening to this episode that are maybe not so obvious, that there is some self-image things going on, some area of life that we can fill in the gaps and the holes in. Now, this topic is something in the spiritual world that gets thrown around a lot. The problem is that every advanced spiritual person that I've worked with, that I've come across, countless people, every single one of them, from anyone you can think of, really, they all seem to have a little bit of a misconstrued idea of this. It's one thing to have knowledge, okay? So a lot of people can attain knowledge. What sets apart what we do our best to do over here is, here we learn the knowledge, but then we also take it and learn how to embody it and implement it into every single area, every single piece, every single day of your life, and how it integrates into your actions on a daily basis. So what happens is, a lot of people can know about self-image or about feeling confident or about you need to feel like you're great to be able to have other people see that you're great and X, Y, Z, all these things. But then where we get the block is then a lack of implementation and embodiment of actually emotionally connecting to how great and how amazing you are. I've had incredible people, and myself, okay, I used to be so guilty of this, over the years, where, you know, they know the information, but then where they get stuck is implementing it and integrating it. So what happens is sometimes I'll even say to them, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad you know all this knowledge. Like, honestly, it's so helpful because it takes away like half of the session of me having to explain what's going on. But then I'm like, but are you integrating it? Because I can see intuitively. So the reason I do this is because with what we do with intuition that I use over here, I have this little thing called Tattletale, which is intuition. And it's a scientifically precise measuring instrument. So with all the people that I intuitively scan who first come to me, all test really low on their self-image, which is how they see themselves. Okay, so your self-image is how you see yourself and how you believe other people perceive you. So why self-image is a game changer is because when we talk about the creator field, the energetic body essentially is what the creator field is. It has so many components, and it's truly responsible for creating all matter around us, which we are going to get into. So a lot of how in depth the creator field is, like, there's the thought part of the creator field, there's the emotional part of the creator field, there's the belief part of the creator field, there's the action part of the creator field, there's the aura part of our creator field, there's the electromagnetic field part of our creator field, there's creator field that is connected to all of our organs in our body, and so many different aspects of the creator field. And with intuition, you can break down and explore every aspect of the creator field. So essentially, our creator field is what is responsible for shaping and instructing the behavior of all matter in our bodies and in our life. And our creator field is essentially handing out scripts, like literally like play scripts or like acting scripts. If you are an actor on a show and you get a script, a lot of people have no clue how in depth the creator field works. But what happens is in the spiritual world, they kind of come up with affirmations and a lot of sort of roundabout ways that maybe if you get really lucky, it would work. But most of the time, the affirmations and like the roundabout ways of shifting the creator field to then create what you actually desire in life, they just don't work. And then you get met with resentment or discouragement every time after you're trying to implement these spiritual practices into your life. So I really have this weird thing where I need to know like everything about everything that I learn. And now, not that I know everything, because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, but at what I know today, I wanted to know the science of how our creator fields work. So every single time that I could implement the right controls and scripts and ingredients to get the results of the things being guaranteed to work. So not just kind of like rolling the dice and being like, okay, let's see if this works. Like I wanted to know how to get the creator field to shift and start to create what you want all the time. So if you haven't had luck with other things working over the years, it's probably because there's just previous tools with a lot of misinformation that you've tried that doesn't have all the knowledge of the creator field. And I'm not saying I have all the knowledge of the creator field, but everything I know to be true about the creator field right now, everything that I could possibly have looked at right now with everything I know how to look at right now, I'm going to give you all the knowledge of the creator field that I currently have. Well, as much as I can give you in an hour of a podcast. There's more inside of other courses. But how to know if something hasn't fully worked is if you put 100% effort into trying to shift something, and then 3 years later, that thing's still there and it comes up and it triggers that same thing, or a few months later, or a few weeks later, it hasn't fully shifted, or the tool you're using, especially if you're years into something, it hasn't fully worked. What happens is people, especially like take plant medicine, for example, they feel really, really good on plant medicine. So then they keep going back. They feel really, really good on plant medicine. And a few days after, then they have a crash because they don't know how to implement the feeling the plant medicine gave them into their everyday life because they got that feeling from something outside of them. So then they have a crash and then they need to go back to the plant medicine to get that high again and to get that realization or the feeling again. But if the same exact problem keeps popping up every time over and over again after the plant medicine or after whatever it is you're doing, you're probably not solving the problem. And self-image is a very broad aspect. Like I've been healing self-image in so many different ways for the past 9 years, and I'll heal certain self-image things and then another self-image thing will come up somewhere else or with something else or in a different way. And so it's not like self-image just in general. It's like if you are focusing on healing one specific self-image problem, like the way you see yourself when it comes to being able to make $10,000 a month. If you still 3 years later, like are still having that same problem and you haven't up-leveled that amount of money or something changed a certain variable about that thing, your modality probably isn't working and it's probably time to switch it up. In my advanced program with all of this glow formula, we talk a lot about the scientific, spiritual, energetic laws of ingredients and how everything in this universe is made up of ingredients. And if you're missing an ingredient, you are missing an essential piece that is required to build what you desire to build. It's just like if you're missing an ingredient when you're trying to bake a cake. You're missing an essential piece that's required to make the cake the best possible way you can make the cake. And at the foundation of what you desire to build is self-image. Now, don't get it twisted. Just because someone is like an influencer or famous or is making hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars does not mean their self-image is high or perfect in all areas by any means. That could mean so many different things. It could mean their self-image was high and they did actually create these things. It could mean their soul put them on a certain path to have these things for a deeper, bigger lesson to realize these things were never going to heal them. It could mean they had some of the ingredients, but they couldn't really explain to you how they made it happen. And then so their self-image may be low in other areas of life and other areas of their life may be not going so well. So you can have a really high self-image around maybe money and your ability to create it, but maybe you don't feel unique and special or valuable in the world. So maybe you have really mastered creating money and being able to teach it, and then maybe you then you have courses about it, and then maybe you have students in your courses, and then maybe you then, because you don't feel special and unique, and that part of your self-image is in the trash can, then maybe you might get mad at students taking what they're learning from you and reteaching it in their own way. Do you know what I mean? Like if just because your self-image is high in one area doesn't mean it is high in all areas, and it will give you obstacles and reflections in other areas of life as well. So anyway, it is a very scientific process of getting emotional ingredients in the creator field in order to get your self-image levels really high. A scientific process is essentially doing something over and over and over and over and over again, and then creating a predictable same result each time. I see a lot of times people feel a temporary high, like they learn a new affirmation, or they watch a new TikTok video, or they read a new book, or they listen to a new podcast, and they get really, really hype of like, this is what's going to solve my problem. And then it turns out that it doesn't really solve it doesn't really create a permanent change. Then I see the higher self starting to give them certain things like money that their human self thought would make them feel better as a lesson, to then realize like, oh, this actually hasn't helped me heal self-image in other ways. So you can heal your relationship with money and create money and heal your self-image with money, but then you can still have really low self-image with your ability to speak, your ability to share, how good of a teacher you are, how good of a spouse or partner you are, your self-image socially with other people or with your body or in so many areas of life. Then you begin to realize like, oh, this external stuff never actually healed all of the core wounds of my self-image to begin with. Our physical bodies come second to our creator field. So if we don't have the right scripts in the creator field, then our body won't perform in the ways that we desire for them to perform at our fullest potential. Okay. So over here in this neck of the woods, the level of control that we desire and aspire to create over our creator fields, and we learn this level of control inside of the GLOW formula, are like Olympic athlete level of control over our creator field. So think how good Olympic athletes are at control over their bodies and their sport. That's the kind of control we want to have over our creator fields. Our creator fields are the blueprints for every single piece of matter. Why I'm going down this rabbit hole is because one of the cliff notes on how we can control our creator field without taking an hour to explain this, like I do inside a GLOW formula, is that our creator field creates fucking everything. And I know I've already taken about 20 minutes to try and explain this, but I really, really want us to understand this. So one of the things in the physical world that we need is recognition. We cannot get around this recognition. It's important and an aspect of being in the physical world. If you're dating and you're trying to find a partner and you don't have recognition written in your creator field, that's an ingredient that's really important when it comes to trying to get a partner that you want to recognize you for the value that you have and for being an incredible partner and all of those things. Same in the job world. People don't realize that they aren't getting jobs, they aren't getting opportunities or more money because ingredients of recognition aren't in their creator field. We have these light bodies that are broadcasting very specific instructions to the matter around us, down to subatomic particles. This translates essentially to all situations, circumstances, events, and how people are treating us are controlled by our creator fields. These fields are even more complex than our physical bodies, okay? Like we kind of talked about a little bit. Because everything in the universe is composed of light, light holds the construction of everything. Our creator fields are made up of light. Our outside circumstance and interactions with people, if all of this is given a script from our creator field, then it might be really important. If we want to accomplish things in life, we should start to develop control over our creator fields. I say it might be really important, but it is really important to develop control over our creator fields. The key to the universe is Olympic level control over our creator field. We are at least half of Source, and Source wouldn't cut out Source's ability when creating us. We have the ability to create just like Source does. So the idea that 100% of the time, whatever is written in our creator field, the combination of electricity, the forces, the light, the blueprints that are made up from our thoughts, emotions, and actions, all of that causes everything in our life, okay? So all our thoughts, all our beliefs, what we believe to be true, all our actions, all our emotions, they all get programmed into the creator field. And the creator field then writes the script to all matter. It literally writes a script and hands it out on how people to act towards you. So think of the creator field as kind of the writer of the show, of the TV show you're watching. The creator field is the writer of it. And then the creator field then hands out scripts, and think of the actors, or think of the people that it's handing out scripts to as the actors. The actors are going to act on the script, and the actors are the people around you. Whatever script is written in your creator fields, you are handing out and giving to everyone, and they are going to act out that script along with all events, situations, circumstances to you, no matter what, no exceptions to this rule, except for one. And that one exception we will get into a little later, but stay with me. So if you're wondering, can anything happen that's not in our creator field? No. Now knowing this, I want to get into one of the most important pillars of our lives, which is self-image. We're finally getting to it. I know I took 25 years to explain what's going on with the creator field and all the components and why it's important, but it's because it massively has to do with this self-image thing we are going to go into. Now, you may have this in some area of life where you feel really, really confident, and then in other areas of your life, you may not feel very confident. And it's very human to have confidence, and it's very human to not have confidence in certain areas, but the idea is to aspire to be complete in all 8 areas of life. And just because one is going well doesn't mean you have the high self-image in all of them. As you increase your consciousness, you're responsible for more areas of life. When someone says, I'm so confident, they are probably right, and they're also probably wrong. They could be really confident in an area like their career, but then they could also have no confidence in their ability to create a good romantic relationship. And if you don't have a high view of how you see yourself in relationships, it could be difficult to find a partner. And then I maybe hear the question of like, well, what if you are just meant to be with someone? Well, even if you have a soul contract to be with someone, it doesn't mean that it will be a fun time or be pleasant when you're with them and fulfilling that soul contract. So even if you have a soul complement, which a lot of people call a twin flame, I like to call them soul complements, the areas of low self-worth will bite you in the ass because partners are designed to be a mirror of our emotional world, especially soul complements. And just because one area is high, our partners won't reflect the high area back. A soul complement will reflect back our most imbalanced, low self-image area, because obstacles are how we grow. The soul came back here for one thing and one thing only, and it was to grow. It wasn't to be validated or to have anything else. It was to grow. So the soul grows faster in obstacles, right? Because if we're missing a component of our self-image in our creator field, then our soul is going to want us to fill that gap in our creator field. And then the soul is going to need someone to reflect that most imbalanced low area of self-image so that we pay attention and that we grow. Everything in our life comes down to recognition. The more recognition, the more success, right? The more recognition that you're getting with your brand or business or your job, the more you're going to build on your job, the more you're going to build on your business, the more people are going to notice you, the more money you're going to make, the more recognition you give yourself for how great of a partner you are, the more you are going to get to then receive from your partner. It all is intertwined. So for example, I thought my self-image was so great, And then I got into a relationship with Justin, my now boyfriend. And I remember him starting to reflect the deepest parts of my self-image that I didn't even realize were there, that he was reflecting right in my face. So the thing is we want to blame our partners or want to blame other people for making us feel a certain way, but nobody can make us feel any way that we don't already feel somewhere, somehow, some area of life deep down. So what would happen is where the reflection's popping up or what they're even saying or talking about isn't where the reflection is coming from. So like I used to have a reflection with Justin because I don't like doing taxes or bookkeeping, which I had to hire someone to do because there was no way you're going to get me to do that myself. Because I'm not good at math. We know this. So he used to get on me and like actually genuinely get mad that like he felt like I wasn't paying enough attention to those things, or like I wasn't being responsible. And it's never what they're saying, what the reflection is. It's always how you feel like they're being. But him telling me I wasn't responsible triggered a thing in me of, I don't feel understood. Okay, I don't feel not responsible. I feel insanely responsible. What he's saying is about him. So somewhere in his life, he doesn't feel responsible. And whatever my judgment is of how he's being is about me. So if I feel emotionally out of balance with what he says, now it's my own reflection. So what my reflection was my judgment of it is I feel like he's not seeing me and understanding me for all that I am. So I had to go figure out what area of my life I was not seeing myself or understanding myself for all that I am. And that actually pointed to my financial area of life. The reflection was coming up in romantic relationship area of life, but where the reflection started, where the self-image healing needed to be, was in the financial area of my life. I wasn't seeing and understanding how incredible I actually am with finances. He then took it and reflected that at me, but in a different way. So his reflection was, he doesn't feel responsible somewhere else in his life, but why he was saying it to me, why I was a match to hear it, why I got triggered by it, is because I felt misunderstood. I felt like people weren't seeing how like all the gifts that I do have, because I wasn't seeing all the gifts that I do have financially. And then what's really cool is I started to shift that, then I started to make more money. I started to rapidly make more money. So all these things are major gifts that we do not want to run away from it, and they are helping us get what we are asking for. Obstacles are here to help us grow. And any obstacle comes down to some kind of self-image thing, somewhere, somehow, some way. And just because you heal one self-image thing with finances doesn't mean you healed all the self-image things with finances. So you can heal the self-image thing around finances with that I'm incredibly good at making money, but then maybe there's another self-image thing with finances of like to really look at and dive into on how great you are at having all the knowledge and skill sets it takes to go make $30 million a year, right? There's all these different layers and levels of self-image when it can come to money or any area of life. So just because you shifted one self-image thing with one specific thing around money, around any area of life, doesn't mean there's not more to shift and come. Our higher selves are constantly looking for the best places to teach us. So all of these self-image obstacles will come up in the place we care about most. The one area of self-image we neglect will get in the way of our highest value areas of life. For example, if you feel like someone is making a sacrifice to be with you in a relationship, and you feel, and you were on an emotional roller coaster in your creator field about it, your highest value area of life right now will become ridden with obstacles. And where the obstacle is showing up, remember, is never where the obstacle started. The area you care about least will affect probably the area you care about most. So the areas of your life that you're neglecting, I shouldn't say care about least, but that you're neglecting to shift, the areas of your life that you're neglecting to shift the most are, and you're hurting in those areas, it's hurting your highest value right now. So the world sees us in the same light as how we see ourselves. Now it gets a little complicated because there are these things called pity compliments because of how the law of balance works. And this is that one exception to the rule that I was talking about. So because of the law of balance, meaning everything has to be in perfect balance, nothing can be too positive or too negative. So an example of this, have you ever had a time in your life where you got really, really high and excited and elated about something? Like, not excited like in a more balanced way, but excited in like, oh my God, this really needs to work out. Like, I'm so excited about this. Like, this means so much. This is going to make such a difference in my life kind of way. And then something happens in your life a few hours later, a few days later, a few weeks later, crash, and it brings it all down. That is the law of balance. You got too excited, so then the universe had to balance you out with a quote negative thing, right? Nothing is fully good or bad, but you know what I mean. Something that you would perceive as negative. Now, same thing works the opposite way. Let's say I'm so far in the negative hole of beating myself up. People then have to start complimenting me to balance out my world so I don't get too far in the negative. These are what I call pity compliments. Pity compliments, you will know it's a pity compliment when you are shocked by the compliment. If you're not internally saying, yeah, I know, that's true. When someone compliments you, obviously don't say that out loud, but if you're not internally going, oh yeah, that makes sense, they noticed that, that makes sense, they complimented me on that. When someone compliments you, it is 100% a pity compliment. If you are shocked when someone compliments you about how you look, about anything about you, and if you're like so shocked and you're getting feeling validated by it, that is probably a pity compliment. Meaning you were so far in the negatives of beating yourself up that the universe had to send people to you to compliment you to get you back into balance. Now, I can hear your thoughts. Well, Allie, why don't I just say fuck all this work and be really negative, and then I could just sustain my life off of pity compliments? Because they're not sustainable. You cannot sustain them because you can't outrun energy. So yes, you could be getting pity compliments when it comes to your work, or getting pity compliments when it comes to how you look or how great you're doing. But then that energy that you are trying to ignore can then show up in health problems. It can then show up in problems with your children. It can show up in problems with your husband or wife, your spouse. It can show up in problems in so many other areas of life. So we can't really outrun it. And the pity compliments are not sustainable. Plus, there's no way you can have the complete Olympic level control over your creator field if you are just running off pity compliments. You can't really create the life that your soul has a pull to go live if you are just running your life off of pity compliments. So that is the one exception to the rule of our creator field, writes a script to everything. I guess it still kind of works with the rule, because if your creator field is really low, yes, you'll like in value. Yes, you'll get a lot of situation, circumstance, events that prove that back to you. But then it is also writing the script of making you have to now get pity compliments to get more balanced and neutral. But also pity compliments are, again, not sustainable because, again, you're relying on then someone else and you're giving your power to someone else to feel better. And then that never feels good. Then you still go home at night feeling sad. So don't run your life off of pity compliments. It's important to know too, the person who complimented you doesn't think they gave you a pity compliment, but the universe brought them in. Like, it wasn't the person's intention to give you a pity compliment. They are actually complimenting you, but you did not create that compliment from your creator field. If you are shocked or surprised or like taken aback from the compliment, or even if you're valuing that compliment a little too much, telling sign you were so low in the negatives and the self-image that the universe had to send you someone to get you out of the negatives and back more into neutral. So it's kind of a pity compliment from the universe, not necessarily like from the person. Like, the person isn't consciously aware that they're giving you a pity compliment, but the universe set that up to get you out of the negatives and back into neutral. So let's say there are two areas of our life that we love who we are. And we obviously aren't telling everyone on the street. It's an internal knowing. But let's say you are so confident in two different areas of your life, and your abilities and your knowings and your knowledge and the whole shebang. But then let's say another area of life, you are not so confident and you find yourself beating yourself up in this area, and you find yourself doubting yourself, and you find yourself comparing yourself or thinking you should have done better, the whole XYZ. So for example, that area that you are beating yourself up in will then start to affect the areas that you are highly confident in and bring up obstacles in those areas. So people get so confused because they're like, I'm so confident in these certain areas. Why am I having these obstacles or these blocks? And it's because they are aspects of self-image from totally different areas that are popping up and now giving you obstacles in another area. So for example, let's say I was so self-conscious about my lack of math abilities. We all know here, if you're in any of my courses or classes, you know my massive lack of math abilities, okay? So let's say that actually became an identity. Let's say that actually got to me and it actually made me feel dumb, or it actually made me feel stupid, or it actually made me feel incompetent, or like people weren't going to trust me as a teacher, or that people weren't going to learn from me, or whatever it is. Let's say that actually became an identity. That is going to be locked in my creator field. And the more experiences I get and the more proof I get, the more it becomes true. Once that belief gets locked into your creator field, now it's writing the script of your life. So it is going to create more experiences and it is going to create more proof. And it will just make it more and more true. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What happens is it becomes the blueprint of my creator field that all areas of my life have to now follow. So let's say I feel like I have no knowledge in math. What's going to happen, and I'm also beating myself up about it, like I'm down on myself about it. What's going to happen is I'm going to have a reflective partner who then feels like my knowledge doesn't matter. Not my knowledge about math, but my knowledge about anything. So I could be then, if this was actually the case, I'm making this story up, but I could be then like telling Justin something about intuition that I know so much about. He might then reflect to me like, oh yeah, no, that's not right. Or like, I don't believe that, or reflect something to the extent of me feeling like my knowledge doesn't matter. When really the core root of me feeling like my knowledge, feeling like I have no knowledge is in math. But it doesn't matter if I'm explaining intuition. If I feel like I have no knowledge in math and I'm beating myself up about it, then it will start reflecting in the things that I actually do have knowledge about. Does that make sense? Now, this doesn't mean I have to go become a mathematician to solve my problem. This means I have to just see how it's perfect that I'm bad at math and see how it's the most incredible thing for me and see how it's endearing and so many other things, right? It's not about changing the actual thing. It's about changing my perception of it. I don't have to go study math to feel better. And that's what happens. A lot of people think like, oh, I don't feel good enough. I have to go do this thing to feel better. We cannot solve a problem in the same frequency that we created the problem in. So if you are trying to feel better and feel smarter by taking more and more courses or getting more and more degrees or going to more and more classes or whatever you're doing to try and feel smarter, that will never solve the problem. If you don't feel smart and you take action of not feeling smart to try and feel smart, it will never solve the self-image problem. What's actually going to solve the self-image problem is changing your perception of the thing, not actually changing it, changing your perception of it. I don't need to go study any more math to feel better about me not knowing anything about math. By the way, I didn't feel great about not knowing anything about math because I balanced that a long time ago. And I'll tell you how. Because it's not about changing the actual thing. It's about changing the perception of it. It's never the actual thing that's the problem. It is our perception of the actual thing. So, why it's perfect that I really am really bad at math, why I couldn't tell you what fucking 24 plus 35 is right now, is because it makes my classes fun. Like, I do a lot of percentage testing in classes, so I'll be like, oh, it's 68% this, and then the rest of that 68% out of 100, whatever that is, I'm bad at math, and it makes people laugh, right? I bring the humor into classes. It takes me off a pedestal. I'm giving really great knowledge about energetics and spiritual things and intuition and neuroscience and the source science of the universe. And then I'm like not good at math, and it brings humor. It's endearing. It's fun. It takes me off the pedestal. It makes me relatable. And it brings really just the overall fun to the group. We get to laugh about something, right? So these are all things why I love and why it's perfect that I'm bad at math. But if I were beating myself up and thinking, oh my God, people are going to think I'm so dumb, like I should know this, I don't know enough, people are going to start to feel that from me, but not about math, about other things, okay? People will start to feel like my knowledge doesn't matter, or I don't know what I'm talking about. All because I didn't neutralize something about being bad at math, right? So this is how detailed and wild self-image can get in our lives and in our creator fields. For example, It's, again, remember, it's never the thing that's the actual problem. It's our perception of that thing. So for example, when I moved to LA at 19, I was broke. I couldn't afford to buy a car. I was so embarrassed that I had to order Ubers because I felt like I was poor. So I was so embarrassed I had to order Ubers because I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I'm poor. I can't afford a car. What are these people going to think of me? You know, I was like deciding that a car meant that I was valuable. So now I feel so wealthy ordering Ubers because I can pay for someone else to fucking drive me places, and I can do whatever I want in the back seat, like work or be on my phone or sleep or take a nap or whatever it is. And how great is that? Like I can literally pay for someone to drive me somewhere. It's like having your own personal driver. See, it's the same exact action, ordering an Uber with two totally different perceptions based on how I see myself. Understand? So the first scenario, I was like seeing myself as this person who wasn't capable of making money, who was embarrassed to get in the Uber because I couldn't afford my own car to drive. And now I perceive myself as this person who can afford to buy an Uber, and it's like having my own personal driver, and it's like, you know, living the luxury life over here. Two different perceptions, same action. And you might be like, yeah, well, Allie, well, you know, you do have a business now and you are making money in it. So like, of course you feel that way. No. I got myself feeling that way before I started making money. I got myself seeing a perception of me that I have the multi-million-dollar, $100 million, whatever million-dollar ideas, billion-dollar ideas, whatever it is, before I was making any money. And so you can get yourself to shift a perception. You don't need the external thing to make you feel a certain way. So whether your partner actually thinks you're lacking knowledge or not, that's not important. It is only the things that I hear or receive from someone else that I have created. Okay. So I've been doing this stuff for about 9 years now. And even I have to watch this on myself on a daily basis. This is a very normal thing for our souls to come back to earth to experience. Now, we don't set up kids for success with this, and we weren't set up for success with this because of the school system. So think about the school systems. We are put into a school system and we're told how we have to learn. What if we don't learn that way? Doesn't matter. We're told how we have to learn. We're told what we have to study. We're told how we have to be. We're basically stripped of everything that comes natural to us and put into a system. We all have these natural gifts and talents and ways of learning that we should get to express and be and do as kids. We'd be set up for so much more success with self-image because of that. I mean, I even think of me in school. Like, I didn't go to college. I didn't get good grades. And I was out here thinking your girl was dumb all of school because I couldn't get good grades. And I couldn't do good on tests. And I couldn't learn the way everyone else seemed to be able to learn. And so I'm out here thinking I'm dumb when really I had to learn a different way about different things. And I'm actually incredibly intelligent with what the fuck I care about to learn. So anyway, we weren't set up for success with this stuff with self-image. So it is not your fault. But if you don't want to be tormented the rest of your life, it's definitely something I suggest shifting. And that way we can shift it for future generations to come as well. Now, again, self-image is essentially how we see ourselves and how we know ourselves to be in the world. And it will either demonstrate people appreciating you, pushing against you. It will either support you or get people antagonizing you in certain areas of life, depending on what our creator fields say. Now, if you're a person who's a perfectionist, if you're hard on yourself or you demand excellence, then your self-image and how you see yourself will be very low in some areas of life. So what happened today actually in my level 3 intuition class was a queen in there was wondering why she was getting this certain reflection over and over and over again. And I looked in her creative field and I saw a hole in her self-image where she's really confident in like what she knows she's really good at doing. So like she knows she's really good at her business. She knows she's really good at what she does in her business. But then I saw she's a perfectionist in every way, in every shape and form. And I saw she was beating herself up about little tiny things that like made no difference if she knew how to do them good or not, because it wasn't how she was going to contribute to the world. It wasn't how she was going to make money in the world. And I told her, I was like, well, you're getting this reflection because I'm seeing you're beating yourself up and making yourself feel like you need to be the best at literally everything you do, like everything meaning the little small tasks in the day. And I gave my math example that I just gave in here as an example. And she was like, oh my God, Allie, you're so right. Like yesterday I took 3 wrong turns and I was beating myself up for not driving the best and like not driving right and being a bad driver. And I'm like, exactly. It makes no difference if you're a good or bad driver. Like you're out here doing so many other things you're good at. Like who cares if you're a bad or good driver or not? And she was expecting herself to be perfect everywhere of life. So she was getting self-image reflections in her career and finances from this beating herself up and being a perfectionist in random funny little areas like driving her car. So just because our self-image is really high in certain things, we want to check where it's low because it will create obstacles. And again, like it's not going to create obstacles for her with driving. It's going to create obstacles of her feeling like if she feels like she's not the best at driving or she's beating herself up for not being good at driving, that will translate to her creator field saying, I'm not the best, I'm not the best, I'm not the best. If you have a creator field that's saying, I'm not the best, then people who want to buy what you're selling won't, because they're going to somehow, some way feel like you're not the best for them to learn from. Or if someone wants to pay you, they're going to feel like, oh, you're not the best person for them to pay. The I'm not the best script will be running in your creator field. So all of these obstacles are going to be a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself. So now that we have this foundation, I want you to start looking around your life and look at the obstacles you are constantly having. If you have no obstacles, essentially you would have high levels of self-image in everywhere, in every form, in every aspect, in every level, in every ingredient, in every single area of your life all the time, constantly. To get this in all areas, you have to start programming this into your creator field. So how do we start programming this into our creator field? Great question. I'm glad you asked. I want you to start and make an achievement list and proud of yourself list. Just bullet point everything that you are proud of yourself for up until all in your life until right now. And then from right now on, just on a daily basis. And what you're going to find is that this starts to move your levels of self-image and the way you see yourself. This is a very foundational step. Remember, how you see yourself is how the world is going to act out seeing you. Now, another tool that I have for this, and you may have heard me talk about this before, is a metaphysical scientific law of the universe that what we see in other people, we cannot have unless we have that in ourselves. So just like how if we get mad at someone or we're judging someone, it is literally our own judgment of ourselves. This plays it for us. This rule of the universe, the law of the universe, plays for us in a beneficial way too. So what qualities that you like in someone else, it is actually impossible to see unless you have those qualities in yourself. Your perception is just out of alignment, so you're failing to see where they are. So it's not about going and physically trying to attain external things to shift how you feel about yourself. It's about cultivating it from within. And remember, don't get it twisted. Just because there's people out there who have made the hundreds of millions, or who have had the career you want, or have had the family you want, or have had the babies you want, or whatever, it does not always mean that they actually intentionally created that through a high self-image. Their soul could have orchestrated that for them so that they could have those things, so that they could learn a deeper lesson of, oh, this was never actually going to heal my self-image wounds in the first place. I've worked with a lot of people who have made tens and 20 and 30 millions of dollars. I think that's all the same thing. See, my math thing's coming out. Tens of millions of dollars would be also 20 million, also 30 million, right? I don't know. You get the point. Tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. I've had people come to me and their self-image is in the trash can. And they thought these things were going to make them feel better, and it never does. They had certain ingredients in their creator field that was able to create these things, right, in their life. But there's other areas of their life where their self-image is insanely detrimentally low that they thought making the money was going to fill in that gap or that wound, but it doesn't. If we try to solve a problem from the same frequency and emotion of the problem, we won't do it. If we don't feel good about how unique and special we are, so we want to go buy the cool car and the cool house and the unique thing and the unique outfit, and we want to be called by a different name so we feel more special or whatever it is, it will never solve the root of I don't feel unique and special, because you can't solve a problem from the same frequency of emotion that you created the problem in. It's feel unique and special first, then you can create the way source creates from there. Because the last thing you want to do is create these things externally and then not be able to fucking enjoy them, because now your self-image is beating yourself up about somewhere else in life, and now you're crying in your Lamborghini or whatever it is that you just got to feel better about yourself and feel more unique and special. But now that problem pops up in your health, because if we don't heal that root wound internally, then it will continue to find us and pop up in other places. What's also really cool about healing our self-image is it actually starts to change the way we physically look. There's a whole other self-image healing with healing the physical self-image. Right now we're talking about internal self-image. Even healing that actually starts to change the way that we look. Because of our creator field and how it shapes all matter, if we are beating ourselves up, we will then give ourselves more things to beat ourselves up about. If we're beating ourselves up, that will also result in extra fat on the body. Unnecessary fat is a physical manifestation of the body feeling like it has to protect itself from your own mean words about yourself. Not only that, if we're beating ourselves up, we will continue to create more things to beat ourselves up about, which then could result in other things going on our face or on our body, or just feeling like we're not physically as in our prime as we could be if we weren't doing that. Now, another thing with self-image healing is it actually helps you not get wrinkles on your face, because forehead wrinkles are a physical manifestation of worrying about what other people think of you. Why do we worry about what other people think of us? Well, it's because we aren't fully rooted to what we think of us. We are still relying on other people's validation to feel better about ourselves. And so because we're relying on other people's validation to feel better about ourselves, we are going to then create forehead wrinkles. So healing your self-image equals you validating yourself. And if you're validating yourself and you know how incredible you are, then that means you're not relying on anyone else to tell you how incredible you are, or you're not relying on anyone else to have recognition, and you also don't fucking care what they think because you know who you are. So you're no longer worried of people's perception of you. So then you no longer have the forehead wrinkles. And then there are wrinkles around the mouth, around the eyes. They all mean different things. That's just a little example of how even healing the internal self-image really starts to radically change the way you look. I mean, if you look at photos of me from years ago, I personally think I even look older in them. And I think I just look way worse. Like, honestly, I do. I think I look so much better now than I, to be so honest, ever have in my adult years, which is really fucking cool to think about how you can reverse so many things by healing internal and external, but also just internal self-image. So I know we have gone for so long in this podcast episode. I know I kind of went down so many different rabbit holes. Listen to this many times. Oh my gosh, my other tool I wanted to give you. Hold on. Remember how I was talking about how scientifically, metaphysically, it's impossible to see in others what we don't have in ourselves. So the things you like in other people, I want you to find where you have those in your own life. So pick someone, write down the qualities you like about them, and then find where you have those qualities in your own life and prove it to yourself with a specific memory of the last time you can remember feeling that quality. That's my other little self-image tool I'll give away for you. Okay, we've gone down a rabbit hole in so many ways. I know this can be a lot. Listen to this episode way more than once, please. Please listen to this 3 to 4 times. Take notes. Really sit down and listen to this because there's so much information. And the more you listen, the more it'll make sense, the more you'll grasp from it. And let me know your thoughts and DM me once you've listened to it. Okay, bye.